How's it going, fam? Welcome back to Erica's EDC. How's it going, everybody? Oh, we're back, and we're still sick. Guys, today, it's a beautiful day. It's Friday, and we're doing the full review of CPM Rex 121. Why? Because I've carried it for a month. I've used it, maybe abused it, sharpened it, stropped it, and now we're ready for a review. Please be patient. I'm so sick and I'm coughing all the time and I don't know what's wrong, but I'm not really feeling the best, so bear with me. But guys, we're doing the full review of Rex 121 today. I'm super excited and quite frankly still surprised at the results. So we're gonna really get into it today. This is the full review after a month of consecutive testing. Just a heads up, the reason why I kind of delay the intros is because I've noticed that YouTube likes to hyper-focus on the first 30 seconds of the video and see what you say, I guess. So somebody asked me the other day why I take a hot second to like get the video going, and that's why. Rex 121, guys, the highest edge retention steel, the highest wear resistance steel. It is awesome. So this came in on a trade. I did not buy this. I traded 2 GECs for this knife. I really wanted to test Rex 121. Honestly, all I've heard is like nightmares about this steel, quite frankly. I've heard nothing but bad things about it in terms of the sharpening and the maintenance. The only good thing I've heard is the edge retention. So I was super curious to test this. Pete from Cedric and Ada got, I think, 2,000 cuts of twisted sisal rope with this steel. So when it came in on December 4th, I decided to test it for a month. And I have done dang near everything that you can think of in terms of EDC tasks with this knife. So I've processed all the dog food with it. I've obviously processed cardboard and plastic packaging. Anything that you can think of in terms of EDC, I have done with this knife. During my testing, what I do is I carry one main blade for a month consecutively. I won't allow myself to use any other knife for my EDC tasks other than that one. And it just becomes the main focus for the whole month. So anything that I have to do, this knife does. It went through the entire month of testing without needing to be sharpened. And at the end of the month, it still didn't need to be sharpened. I did record a small clip using this knife to do some deer processing. I think like 2 months ago, my buddy got a deer. We field dressed it and all of the stuff and processed it, did a couple videos on that. I took home all of the scrap stuff. So everything that was not human grade, I took home for the dogs, which was the rib cage, the legs, the femur, all of the stuff bones basically. I brought home for the dogs, and I've slowly been working through the outdoor freezer and processing all of that down and feeding it to the dogs during their meals. So there is a short video, I think it's like 1 minute and 34 seconds long, of me using this to separate some joints in the leg bone. I did not record that entire process because I didn't even think to do it, but like part of the way through working through that deer, I was like, oh, Nikki, grab the camera. This will be perfect content to, record what happens with this steel. And it did amazing. We had no chipping or anything. I was kind of just working through a joint, and then I ended up snapping it on camera. No chipping, no rolling, no nothing with that. So, I mean, in my opinion, I did everything and maybe more than what most people would do with this knife, and nothing phased it, okay? So my point in touching on that is that a lot of people say that super steel is brittle, and especially when you get to 70 HRC, it's gonna chip on you if you do like field dressing type things or anything outdoors. I don't think that's true. I've experienced it to be not true. And that was a perfect representation of that. You know, we used Rex 121 to work through joints of a deer and nothing happened. So nothing phased this knife during the testing. And it, like I said, it did not need to be sharpened at the end of the month at all. It just keeps going. This is a steel that nearly never needs to be sharpened, truly. So I had an absolute blast with it. You can see it has been sharpened, which I'm going to touch on in a second because that experience was wild. But, you know, Rex 121 is a high vanadium, cobalt bearing steel with ultimate edge retention. Okay? What? 9.5% vanadium, I think, maybe 3.4% cobalt, something like that. It's wild, and it's not meant for knives. I think it's meant for like die cutting and stuff like that. It's kind of similar to like Maxima. It's like an industrial steel. But when you put it in a knife, you know, people say that it's not true that you never have to sharpen a knife, like it's eventually going to go dull. But I'm telling you, some of these super steels, you truly can go 6-8 months without sharpening. It just is real life. They're so incredible. They're that good that you can go months and months and months without sharpening them. Rex 121 is one of those steels. So we did everything with it. It did not need to be sharpened at the end of the month. However, because I had heard so many horror stories about sharpening Rex 121, I wanted to sharpen it. So yesterday I threw on the camera. It was like a 24-minute long video. I recorded the sharpening progression of this knife. All I used was a 600 grit DMT diamond stone and a leather strop loaded with 3 micron gunny juice, which is diamond emulsion compound. And I recorded that sharpening, and when I went back to watch the footage, because I do that every time before I upload, I'll review the footage to make sure there was no audio cutouts or no glitches or anything. I was coughing during, I would say, 3/4 of that video. And it annoyed me so much that I literally could not upload it. Like, all I was doing was coughing and drinking water because I hadn't taken cough medicine. We ran out. And I tried to truck through the video, and it was horrific how annoying it was. So I wasn't able to upload that because I don't have editing. I've never edited a video. I don't know how to edit out like audio and just put up a video. Otherwise I would have. I just deleted it. It was that bad. So I'm going to have to tell you about the sharpening progression, and you're just going to have to believe me, I guess, until I can actually record it again, because I'm not going to, this knife, as you saw in the beginning, is like razor sharp. That's not the factory edge. I did it freehand on a 600 grit DMT diamond stone. You're just going to have to take my word for it and you know, see that that's not the factory edge. And I don't know what else to tell you. So, the reason I want to talk about the sharpening is because it's extremely important to sharpen a knife before you do a review on it, because this is a prime example of parrots not knowing what they're talking about and just repeating and vomiting the same crap that isn't true, right? So all I had heard was Rex 121 is horrible to sharpen. Everyone that's tried to sharpen it ended up with worse results after sharpening it. They couldn't get that bite back that they got from the factory from Spyderco. It was hell, okay? And I've heard that from so many people. This was the easiest knife I've ever sharpened in my life. I am so bummed that video could not be uploaded because the content was gold, guys. This was so easy to sharpen that in the video I was actually confused. And I was like completely puzzled as to what happened. I tested CPM S60V over the summer for a month and sharpened it and reviewed it. And that was like the easiest steel I've ever sharpened in my life. S60V, if you love sharpening, it is a dream to sharpen. It is the easiest steel I've ever sharpened in my life. I think it was one of the first super steels ever, okay? It was an iteration of 440V from CPM. This was as easy to sharpen as S60V. It was so easy that, like I said, I was actually genuinely puzzled at the end. And it was not difficult. It was not difficult to deburr. Like, it was genuinely the most simple thing I've ever sharpened in my life, which is saying something for the steel, because the Sage blade is not thin. It's pretty thick. 15 thou BTE, give or take. And it was that easy to sharpen. So for me, that's telling me that it was the steel, not necessarily the geometry, that was easy, because it's not the thinnest knife in the world. A lot of people regrind Sage 5 lightweights, or just the Sage 5 in general. It was so freaking easy, guys. I will be recording a sharpening of this again when it's dull again, because I need to get it on camera how simple it is with a 600 grit diamond. And the feedback it gave, excuse me, it was, if you've ever done pottery, like, if any of you have ever done pottery on the wheel, and you build the pot up and you do all the things with it, and then you can use these tools to like shave parts off, that's what it felt like on the stone. It was not skating across the stone like a super hard steel that is not making any progress. Like, the feedback it was giving was so beautiful. I could feel the bevel on every part of that stone, and it was resisting, but not in a problematic form. Like, I could literally feel the steel coming off and exactly where I was. It was not difficult to hold that angle. It was a dream. It was a sharpener's dream, guys. And then stropping it just brought it to that next freaking level, like you saw at the beginning of the video, when you can just like through paper like a freaking lightsaber like that at any angle and just hack through it. It's freaking sharp. Like, I don't know. I'm not entirely sure what people are doing with this to have such a hellish ordeal. But this was the easiest knife since S60V, I can promise you that. So, for me, Rex 121 has absolutely gone right up to the same god level of steel that, like, I hold K390 at. You guys know I'm obsessed with K390. It's been my favorite steel for, good lord, probably almost a year. And Rex 121 is literally tied with it now, because I was super nervous initially when I got this about the toughness. You're always making a compromise for the most part with steel. I've said that 1,000 times. When you're 70 HRC, the best edge retention and the highest, wear resistance steel, when you're holding all of those capabilities, the toughness is totally going to be compromised. And obviously with this, the corrosion resistance, we have, as you can see, a patina there from the month of use, but I don't think it's that bad at all. So, with that 9.5% vanadium, and it being a high speed steel, I just was super nervous about the toughness aspect, especially if I laid the edge back. Generally, I run, 17, 15 degrees per side, preferably on my knives. I was really nervous about that, and I just haven't experienced anything negative about it at all. The corrosion and stain resistance actually surprised me too, because I left this covered in blood and juices and all kinds of things all throughout the month. And I don't even have a speck of rust, not even a single pit. And it's not like I did that on purpose to be like trendy and be like, ooh, look, my Sage 5 has patina. It's just like what happens, like when I was processing the dog food and stuff, especially their breakfast, it comes in like a 5-pound tube, and you like cut the tube open, put it into a bowl because it'll go for a couple days, it'll feed them for a couple days. And generally I'll like cut the tube open, my knife will be covered in like blood and stuff, put it over on the counter, you know, clean everything else up. It just kind of sits there for a few minutes, and then once I feed the dogs and get to it, then I clean it off. Because I just don't really care that much, you know? I'm not like purposely going and sticking this into a lemon or into an apple to be like, ooh, look, it has patina. I just literally let this thing ride out the month naturally, just how I live my life, and this is what we ended up with. And it genuinely has zero rust or anything. We have just some very slight staining through the middle where I believe when I put the knife down, the blood from the dog's food probably pools into the middle of the blade, and that's why on both sides, like nearly identical staining in the same exact spot. And then you don't really have any anywhere else. I'm figuring that's what happened because I put it like this and it probably just collects. But, you know, a month of use every day and no issues whatsoever. And like I said, the sharpening just blew my mind how easy it was. So Rex 121 is absolutely one of my new favorite steels. The high hardness didn't give me any issues. The corrosion resistance being pretty low did not give me any issues. I can't even think of a single thing that I didn't like about it. You know what I'm saying? Other than it being a little thick for my liking, and that's just personal preference. Like I like thin, hard knives. That's just what I like. And I think Spyderco, you know, their geometry is great because they generally do like full flat grinds, you know, hint, hint, look at this. So that helps us with slicing capability, but I still think that they're thick, you know? But at least we have the full flat grind to help us slice. So zero complaints about it. It was absolutely so fun to test. Love how sharp it stays. Like I said, it did not need to be sharpened after a month, but we just did it for testing purposes. It was one of the easiest steels to sharpen. I love it, guys. I have nothing bad to say about it. This one is made in Taiwan. Quality from there, I am so sorry. Quality from there is generally awesome. Centering is perfect. No complaints. It was just a pleasure to use. It was, as a knife steel nerd, a blast. I highly recommend it. The price is, you know, up there. I think these are like $255. Like, that's tough. But if you have the money, I highly recommend it. I'm just saying, you really should use diamonds to move this steel. Otherwise, you're not going to make progress with it. And it was super easy for me to sharpen. But if that many other people are having issues with it, I don't know, maybe I got like a gold star Sage 5 lightweight. I don't know, because I didn't have any issues, but other people do, so I don't know if it's difficult for other people, but I highly recommend it. I'm not sure if it's for like a beginner, you know, but if you're into knives and you've been really on the fence about Rex 121, I'm obsessed. I'm hooked. I need more. I need more. I need more Rex 121. So that's kind of my review after, you know, a month of consecutive use. I know people have, you know, feelings about the month-long use because it can get kind of boring hearing about it, but like, I don't know how you can do a review when you haven't used the knife, you know what I'm saying? Or like haven't sharpened it, haven't stropped it. Because like I said, people talk crap about Rex 121 and I had an amazing time with it. Would have never known that if I didn't sharpen it. So now we're on to 15V, guys. Josh, my big brother, got this for me, and I'm wicked stoked to try this because I have heard completely mixed reviews about 15V. Literally split down the middle. Half of the people say it's godsend, half of the people say it's hype, and the sharpening on it is terrible. And it's a bitch. So we will see what 15V holds for us. But I'm super excited to run this for the month of January because I've never used this either. So we're on a trend right now of like steels that we've never used before. I will say this model did come with lock stick. I'm trying to break it out. You can probably still hear it. Pretty bad lock stick. Centering is good, but a lot of people are having pretty severe issues with the lock stick. So first impressions are amazing other than that, but I'm really excited to test the steel. I don't really give a crap about lock stick. It's the steel that I'm curious about. So yeah. Rex 121, guys, highly recommend. Check it out. If you've been on the fence, this is me telling you to just do it. Okay? Don't ask questions. Just get it. It's amazing. I'm very grateful that I got to test it. Hopefully that was informative for you guys. I'm sorry that I'm kind of like all over the place here. Whatever I picked up is giving me a brutal cough and my brain fog is wild. So I don't even know if this review made any sense, but hopefully it did. So I will see you guys on the next video. You guys on the next video. Go use your shit. Learn how to sharpen your knives. Maybe hit up some moms this weekend. I'll see you on the next video. I love you so much, fam. Take care.